Welcome to Locke Key Unlocked, a podcast about Locke Key on Netflix, as well as the comic books by Joe Hill and Gabriel Rodriguez.
Woohoo!
I'm Alex.
Yeah, I'm Justin.
I'm Pete.
And we are going to be talking about Locke Key Season 3, Episode 5, Siege. So if you haven't checked it out, go check it out. Spoilers ho. But after the reveal that Bode has been taken over by Dodge in the previous episode, the Locke family is on to her. But it is mere moments before Captain Gideon and his team invade the house, the siege of the title, and by the end, everybody is in trouble. Everybody is hurt. Bode is gone.
Vanished.
Vanished.
Just poof.
And Gideon has opened the demon portal right in the middle of Keyhouse. So things are basically as bad as they possibly can be, and it's just all up, up, up from here.
I mean,
this feels like a penultimate episode, and we've got 3 more.
Yeah.
When the portal started to open, I looked down. I was like, how much time is left? Oh, my God, we're really getting into this. But also, like, do it outside of a really nice older house. You know what I mean? Like, open up a portal. You know, there's a lot of land out there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Go outside and play, Gideon.
Yeah.
Get out of the house. You're
That's
making
what
a
I
mess.
always tell my kids. Hey, kids, if you're going to open up a portal, do it outside.
Do it outside. Exactly.
Daddy's got his
I
drinking
love-
TV time. Daddy's got to watch Locke Key over here.
I love the way you father as a real Brooklynite. Only when you're parenting are you like, hey, up your nose with a rubber hose with that
You know
talk,
what? In Brooklyn, we fold our kids like this. You know? Hey. Anyway, to your point, Pete, there's 2 things that I wanted to mention here. First of all, I am absolutely loving this season. This season is so good. It is wild how much they're just banging through everything here in terms of the plot. We've got 3 episodes left, and I have no idea what's going to happen at this point. But also, I know Pete's going to take exception to this, but this legitimately, and I've talked about this on other podcasts before, is a really positive thing. I love that this episode was only 36 minutes long.
Oh my God,
Agreed.
what the fucking time with you.
Well,
I
no,
agree.
listen,
it was so good because it was a banger. It
exactly.
got in, moved fast, and was like, that's all we want to tell you right now. And I love the modulation on that.
First of all, just because you mentioned something on another podcast doesn't make it more valid.
It does.
Secondly,
it does.
No, it doesn't.
The more times I mention it, the more true it becomes. That's how
You
change
can't be-
reality.
Take it
You can't
easy,
be-
Donald Trump. Take it easy.
You can't be convicted of a crime if you mention it on another podcast. It's like double jeopardy.
That's also not how things work.
Yeah.
Double
I'm pretty
jeopardy.
sure I've gotten away
doesn't
with a
apply.
lot of crimes. I've gotten away with a lot of crimes.
You guys
But
are charged
it's
with children.
exactly
Makes it work.
what Justin is saying there. It's like there's no fat on the bone here. Is that the expression in terms of how they're putting this together? It's they immediately,
oyster crackers
the
on
Locke
the
family,
side.
like the dawning realization that Bode doesn't just have something wrong with him, but legitimately has been taken over by Dodge, figuring out what's going on with the time shift key and getting the information there. And then the whole siege by Captain Gideon in the second half of the episode. It is tense as hell the entire time.
God, yeah.
And there's so many moments that happen that are just like huge action movie moments that ruled that I was like, oh, yes, while I was watching.
Yeah.
I just had, even with the tension, even with the horror that's going on, I had such a great time watching this. And I do think part of that is having an episode that's like 10 minutes shorter because you're cutting out all of those unnecessary scenes.
Well, and it escalated so quickly to the point where I'm like, well, they're fucked. There's no the way we are the way this episode ends is like, I don't know what they're gonna do. They literally just run away. They don't have Bode. They lost Dodge, who was their ally at the end, as called by Mr. Alex Zalben, Mr. Business called it. They are without keys and without options. Trouble.
And truly also, like, going back to the beginning of the episode, that technically, if you ignore the bad Bode of it all, now they have Tyler back. He has his memories back. It's so nice to see Tyler and Kinsey talking about stuff and figuring out stuff and working as a team here right from the beginning. And you get this feeling at the beginning of like, okay, all right, we're at full power again. This is good. Yeah. But as soon as Gideon comes in, the way that they're playing him, which I absolutely love, is he's a captain of a redcoat brigade for the Revolutionary War. Like, even if he's wandering around in, with his dirty hair, like his scraggly hair and muskets and everything, these are trained soldiers who we've already seen on the show absolutely wreck the rebels in America. So, like, of course, even with the Keys, of course, two kids, a demon in a kid's body, and a formerly alcoholic mom are not going to be able to beat them.
Well, all right, come on. Her alcohol has nothing to do with her fighting ability. You don't need to throw that in there, okay?
I was just giving. I was put a little flavor on it. That's
not
nice.
necessary. I agree that this episode was a banger. It was an emotional roller coaster from start to finish. I had a great, unbelievable time, and I can't believe where we ended things. I'm not going to just sit here and celebrate how short it was. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't mind a couple minutes to breathe here and there.
I'll tell you what, I wish it was 10 minutes shorter. I wish it was 36 minutes shorter. I wish it would just be like, ah!
Just scream in your ear?
Yeah, scream in my ear and be like, great episode.
This is so much fun. It's insane to me that you want less of something that is so great.
It's no. This is lauding the production team here, not to rest on this point too much, but like, that's a level of restraint that you don't see in the streaming era. And it's impressive in terms of the storytelling, in the direction, the pacing, the acting, everything. This is a positive thing, I think.
It's putting the creative first. It's putting the story first and being like this. It's like, I don't know if you've ever read a book, not a comic book, Pete, a regular book. Some chapters are different lengths, Have you ever thought about that? So I think this is a chapter in the overarching story of Locke and Key, and
I agree. I agree that leading with creativity and letting the story kind of happen the way it's supposed to is the best way to do things. So yes, I just think it's weird that you guys are like, it's under 40.
No, it is good because everything that we know about Netflix, everything that we know about how they judge series is about number of minutes watched, right? So not to get too technical about it, but in terms of like feeding the Netflix algorithm and everything that the company is asking you for, the thing would be to be like, let's stretch out the episode so we get more minutes there, so we get more stats in Netflix. They're also looking at completion rates, though, in terms of the season. They want to see how much of the season people watch. So certainly a shorter episode will help there, but it really is about those minutes and those hours that people are watching. So the fact that they're like, no, 36 minutes, and the next episode also is like 30-ish minutes is, I think, points to exactly what we're saying. They're putting the creative stuff first.
Okay, let's start talking about.
Let's talk about exactly. So, you talked about Gideon, and I agree. Like,
no. We have to go 36 minutes on just talking about this in our episode. And I'm going to stretch it out as much as I can.
Okay,
it's what the people want.
Let me ask you: do you think at this point it's like broom hair? Like it's not really hair?
That's just where I was going. It's like they took a horse, cut its tail off, and put it on his head.
No, I think what happened was they ran out of hair and there was only brooms around, so they cut some brooms and just taped it to his forehead.
Are you talking about Gideon? Wait, who are you?
Yeah,
Gideon.
We're talking about Gideon's hair.
What, does someone else have like straw for hair? Scarecrow head?
I don't know.
Yeah.
There's the there's the flunky that he has who has like straight vampire underworld villain hair with like
found a sweet leather jacket.
Coffee?
You'll never get that off of him. He's gonna die.
He looks like he's ready to fight Kate Beckinsale any second now.
Yeah. Wow. Great call. That is true. Yeah, that is very true. I think Gideon needs to, he's really searching for the shampoo key, which he hopes to unlock here. It goes right in the top of your head.
Conditioner, somebody just go inside and tell them about showers.
You turn it 3 times. Lather, rinse, repeat. Done.
I love what Kevin Durant is doing with this character. Every single line of his delivery, beyond his hair, we can keep talking about his hair if you want, but every line of his delivery is so full of malice. He's hitting the perfect line between being a realistic villain and cartoon villain. Like, that's a tough thing to straddle, I think.
Sure, yeah.
100%. And there's a real chance that this character could turn into like a mastermind and like this like sort of like he's got it all figured out. And I love that he's not. He's sort of a lunk. He's like a lug. He's like an overbearing, like evil and just like driven to what he wants. But he's not like out. He's not playing a chess match with the Locks. He's just punching.
I mean,
them.
you sleep outside for that long and see how you're going to feel.
100%.
You're going to get cranky. But I
He just needs a bed.
I do love this character, and I think it's really well played. I mean, when he shot Bode, like it was an oh shit moment for real. Mm-hmm. Like there's no villain monologue so that the team can win because he's just talking about his evil plan. Like he's making shit happen, and you got to be quicker than this, lug. So yeah, it's extremely scary and extremely well played. I mean, the evil Bode of it all, like to see him, like when he was all chained up, kind of lash out at his family was super creepy and fun.
Bad Bode.
Well, just to mention about that and stick on this point a little bit, we've talked a lot about Dodge and how Dodge plans. And I think there is a very clear delineation to your point of like Dodge is a little more focused this episode in terms of planning, but is still like improvising at every moment and scattered and being like, I'm going to follow this plan. No, now I'm going to follow this plan. Now I'm going to do this plan. Is not like a big planner, but always trying to work the angles as much as possible, like a con man, while Gideon is a battering ram. Like that is all he is. He's like, this is my goal. I'm going for it. Nobody's standing in my way. I don't care who else gets hurt. Just give me the thing that I want. And I do think, as we predicted, I think that's what leads to this team up between Dodge and the Locks this episode, is knowing that Dodge has fun doing these con games. Dodge enjoys being like
the meat world.
Exactly, the meat world and like fucking with the meat. Like that's what Dodge likes to do.
Ew.
You didn't have to word it like that, bro. That was super creepy.
That's not the title of the next episode, is it?
But what Gideon doesn't want to do that. Gideon just wants to rule everything, take over everything, destroy everything, make everything his. So I love that separation between these two villains, and I love this team up too because there's such an edge to it. Of we're not even as viewers. I didn't even necessarily feel in the same place as the Locks, because I think the Locks, even not trusting Dodge, are still being too trusting of Dodge. But as a viewer, you're like, what are you doing giving Dodge the alpha key? Don't do that. No. This is going to go so wrong. And the fact that it doesn't, the fact that Dodge is legitimately actually on their side.
And was like, I thought the kind of time would run out at a good time for them, not kind of like the worst.
Worst time.
Yeah, like the worst possible time. And then everybody's just staring at a key on the floor, and Gideon just turns and picks it up and is like, now you're fucked. And everybody ran for their lives.
I loved... Sorry, go ahead, Justin.
There you go.
No, I was just going to say I loved how that played out. I mean, to lay down in terms of the plot, just in case people are catching up to this episode later on or something, a lot of the question in the episode is what's going on with the time shift key? How does the time shift key work? And specifically this hourglass that is inside the clock inside of Keyhouse, what happens when the sand runs out? Like they set that up very nicely and simply towards the beginning of the episode. Eventually, Duncan calls back on his family's dedication and is like, oh, yeah, it's a failsafe. When the sand runs out, whatever happened, whatever was brought forward through time disappears so that you don't have a time paradox. And so it's, even though they reveal the information towards the end, it presents this literal ticking clock in terms of Bad Bode, trying to use the alpha key on Gideon. And again, as a viewer, you know exactly what's going to happen at that moment. You know how this is going to go down and go wrong. And you're just like, oh my God, I can't watch this.
Yeah, it's great. Whoa, Bad Bode, bam, balam, balam, I think we could say there. But I agree with you. I love this sort of theory of time travel, which we've seen hundreds of different takes on time travel. The idea of plucking someone out, but they don't ever go back. Essentially, they vanish, means that there's no paradox, but they still get to interact freely and change and do all that stuff without messing with the time stream and all that sort of real heady stuff. We just get to have the fun without the consequences, which is literally almost the theme of Locke and Key. But I was going to say, Gideon at the end of the episode has all the keys. Opens the rift, So does that mean it's time for the Locks to finally go get the locks?
Oh, for the
Because there's keys.
Okay,
now they can get all the locks out.
Wow.
The show's
Wow.
called Lock and
That's
Key.
what you've been sitting on for the past 5 minutes.
Wow. Wow.
I don't know if I've been sitting on it for 5 minutes.
Well, man, the dad in you is really taking over. I just want to kind of talk about the evil Bode of it all in this episode. Like the fact that we got to kind of see Rufus talk to his mom and explain what's happening, as like also Tyler is, and like the family's having a meeting and kind of like getting to kind of know what's happening. To see Bode kind of go from pretending to like fuck all you people was awesome, because of like this he's been such a fun, positive thing in the show, and like I was really having a hard time with it, but once he was kind of like chained up, I could kind of relax and enjoy the evil Bode on our team, which was really nice. And like Bode, as usual, was handling business. Like people were hurt and laying down and not doing stuff. Bode throws on
laying down. It's not like they were just
Kinsey,
like,
I think, broke her leg. Nina was knocked out by a
At
at
Revolutionary
least sprained her
War
ankle.
ghost.
Nina knocked out.
Tyler
Tyler
got his palm
stabbed.
It's like a
No one was laying down. Don't act like whoever was
Well,
just
Bode
like
was handling business, is my point. And
that's Dodge. That's Dodge. And I knew when I was watching the episode, I was like, Pete's gonna love this Bode shit. But you're rooting for Dodge.
I'm not.
You love bad Bode. You are.
Also, like as an actor, the actress who's playing the dead body, who we keep looking at, and I'm just like, oh man, she had to sit there for days, just kind of like
de Oliveira. Yeah. I want more from her. I thought we were going to get a switchback of bodies at some point, and I do hope we do. That'll certainly, at some point, we should talk about what happened to Bode at the end of the episode and how potentially those rules are going to work. But I agree. There is something very unnerving about the heroic bad Bode sequences, particularly when he uses the angel key, crashes through the window, saves Kinsey. That's totally, like, I think my reaction was like, yeah, oh.
Yeah, exactly.
wait,
Yeah. Like, hooray, wait a second.
Is this good? I don't know if this is good. But
continue to be good.
And I was surprised they were like, Dodge/Bad Bode was like, give me some keys. And they gave him the angel key, which is Kinsey's like signature key, A. B, powerful key. But to Pete's point, Bad Bode's delivering. Throws coffee into the well house. Later, dude, burns him up. Great burn.
Such a good effect. Love that effect.
Thought that was great, and gets pretty close. Besides, gets shot, but gets pretty close to winning the day for them. In a way that I was like, wow, I can't believe we made Dodge sort of the hero who didn't quite get there in this moment.
Yeah.
Just to take a big step back, also, what we got from Bad Bode in this episode is a little bit more what I think I expected in the previous episode. Like, we talked about how it was very funny how rude Bode was, but just from Dodge's perspective, it was not hiding
There's
out
a difference
really well.
between rude but cool, versus rude.
The Raphael paradox.
Exactly, as we all know.
Yes.
Well, here's one thing we were really missing in this episode: hotness. There was a surprising
I was wondering if you guys would have realized that when you're cutting the fat, guess who gets lost in that?
You didn't think we were going to realize? You didn't think we were going to realize? Like,
that is true. Here's what I think we needed.
Streamline it. There's
We
no
needed-
time for that guy.
We needed 1 minute in the middle of the episode just cutting to Hot Josh filling his drawer with guac, just like getting one of those guac drawers going.
him just crushing another order at a local restaurant. Like, yes, I would like some more pepper on my soup. Boom, hot. I do think
can I
we're
get
setting...
some of that sushi over here? Sorry, sushi.
Yeah, there it is. I think we're gonna get. I think everyone's on the run. Our remaining group, we need more numbers. Hot Josh, big candidate to join the positive.
I don't know
If you're
about
on the
that.
run from a bunch of demons who have just opened a portal, you want to go to the hottest house in town, and that house, Josh House.
That house is full of Josh. I'll tell you that much. The hot house is full of Josh.
We should also probably talk about, we didn't really mention the Ellie and Rufus stuff in here. This was another thing that I felt was corrective of one of my concerns about the previous episode. Like I had talked a little bit about why doesn't Rufus just say something to Ellie? Are we going to sit on this for a while? Yet. And pretty immediately in this episode, Ellie is like, what are you doing, Rufus? This is not you. Come on, tell me the truth about what's happening. And I appreciated the fact that Rufus, after a lot of nudging from Ellie,
good kid,
did tell him. They tried to figure out a way around it, and now they're headed there as well. So I think, in full honesty, I don't think they're actually going to head to Hot Josh's house. I think the surviving Locks are going to end up in the car with Ellie and Rufus. So that,
you know what I'm worried about?
Together.
What I'm worried about is as they're driving up, they're going to be kind of like running on this side of the road. They're going to be like, hey, we're over here. And they look over there and drive straight into the portal. You know what I mean? Like the old not paying attention where you go and drive into a portal move.
Oh, yeah.
Old prediction.
Yeah.
The portal drive.
So the Locks are running away from the house. Just to get this clear, the Locks are running away from the house. They're like, I don't know, 100, 200 feet, maybe half a mile away. Yeah, Ellie and Rufus see them and are like, cartoon style, whoa, no, for maybe a solid minute, 2 minutes of the episode, end over end, smash through the house and go to the portal in the center of the house.
No, like a Toons is the driving cat sketch from SNL, is what you're saying. We're in a Toons situation here.
I'll tell you what, I agree with you. I think that's exactly what's going to happen, Pete.
No, I'm hoping that they'll pick them up and be able to drive them away from the giant growing portal.
Yes. I also, on that note, loved, I think we were predicting this from, I want to say the trailer episode, honestly, but like.
Oh, we should talk about the trailer.
I remember that.
The trailer episode. I love that they got to this 3 episodes before the end. Like, again, this is season finale material or second to last episode material. We got 3 episodes left. They've already opened up the portal in the middle of Matheson. It's crazy.
It's great. It does. It puts the Rufus storyline. Rufus's whole power here was like he knew that Bode was Dodge. And then immediately that's gone. So I thought that was going to be more of a thing, and we were going to get Rufus coming through, Squadron Strange, big hero moment.
He's still going to save the day. Don't you worry about it.
I'm sure. I think that it's there. Ellie and Rufus are the characters that have been operating on the side that haven't really been involved. Though we've seen a lot of. Like, we've got a whole scene, was it last episode or the one before, with Ellie going into the school, the academy, and just being told, like, you don't belong here, overhearing the conversation, her walking out, like being pushed to leave town. And she's a character that, I don't know where her place is. Does she survive this season? Does she sacrifice herself for Rufus? Like, I don't know. But I think Rufus will have a hero moment coming.
Yeah, I definitely agree about Rufus' hero moment. Just to throw out a wild theory for Ellie, given that she was tricked and thrown into the demon portal by Dodge, what if we get a moment where she does it by choice? Whether it's to get revenge on Dodge, push Dodge through the demon portal at the end of the season, or honestly Gideon, like to save Rufus and to save everybody. And she's like, no, I'm going to sacrifice myself to save everybody. And then Rufus lives with the Locke family. He gets to stay in Matheson. So we get that move there, sort of that double move of that sad sacrifice.
I hear what you're saying, but what I'm hoping happens is that she does like a deke move because she's been down this road before and knows how tricky the portal is and is able to kind of push Gideon and save herself.
I do think one reason to maybe keep her in the mix is to have sort of that ability to go back to the Tempest flashback, which no Gordy sighting in this episode, so I'm a little worried that we're not going to get it.
Yeah.
What I'm worried about is we're not going to get to see anybody enjoy some amazing chowder is what I'm worried about.
Yeah, I'm really worried
we're getting chowder.
We're getting chowder.
Chowder's going to be, once they win, they're going to celebrate sort of halal cart style. Exactly.
Yeah, shawarma scene. Everybody's sitting around with some nice hot chowder.
Oh, man,
nothing
so
better after a battle.
Yeah.
Sweat still on your brow. Hot, creamy clam chowder. Open the chowder drawer, gang, because it's time to celebrate. We just got a victory.
Woo! Come on, get some oyster.
So many other great moments in the episode that we should probably call out, but one awful moment, I don't know how you guys felt about this, but Bode breaks his Nintendo Switch in half, which was very hard to watch.
Tragic. Also, talk about a bad plan. Everyone was like, yo, what, dude? What are you talking about? And that's what I feel like they were like, something's up with this kid. He snapped his Switch in half. You know how you'd have to drop, how hard you have to drop it to make that happen? And that's where I feel like Dodge showed that that she doesn't know how meat people
Well,
talk.
that was such a fun moment because he was like looking at this and being like, what is this thing? I'll just break it, and it was like, because they all know how important a Nintendo Switch is to a kid, like that was a huge clue that someone threw it across the room like that. But also the fact that it was snapped and then he said he threw it acrough the room and it broke in half.
Right, that's not going to happen.
Suspect.
Yeah, that's
Suspect. Yeah.
Very
wow, what a
suspect.
great
I would say,
parent
though,
instincts, Pete.
Though watching that was awful, but not as bad as like watching somebody rip comics in half. That is worse for me. But I could say, the Switch heads out there, I'm sure were like, oh my dear Lord, why?
It was pretty terrible. A couple of other things that I really liked. Love the callback where Kinsey and Tyler figure out what's going on with Dodge's body, and Kinsey says it looks like a sock without a foot in it, which is a callback to season 1. That was very nice. Love the icing of the bedroom at that point too from Ghost Bode. Also, just so many different deliveries from Bad Bode from Jackson Robert Scott throughout the episode. His line where he says, "So no tacos then." Very funny.
Great.
I actually like Meat World. And then I think it's when he crashes through the window and he says, BRB, and then flies out again. Very fun.
It's great. It felt like they successfully married the danger of Bad Bode with the fun of regular Bode, and had this sort of whole new character that you're rooting for, is evil, but also is fun, which I think I would have never predicted that. I wanted to shout out 2 things. First off, too much reliance on the chain key. I've been saying this for a while, and it really bites him in the ass. That's not a good weapon. It's shooting a chain.
Also, is this your first time wearing the Hercules belt? You got to protect the key on the top of it. I mean, come on.
Yeah, put the shirt over top of it.
Yeah, exactly.
I appreciate what you guys are saying. I thought all of these battle feints and parries were so well played out.
It's good.
I love the move, and I should have seen this coming, but like when the soldiers are first invading the house and Nina is hiding, and then the soldier just stops, drops his gun, and turns around, and it turns out Tyler is using the music box key. So cool. Then Nina jumps out with the chain key. Great stuff.
Their plan was good.
Good plan.
But I also love it, and you mentioned this earlier, Alex, that Dodge, throughout the first 2 seasons and even in this season, is playing a game with the locks. Like there's some thrill in it for Dodge in any capacity to sort of outplay them, beat them, destroy them.
I mean, it's like
Gideon isn't playing it. Let me just finish. Gideon isn't playing a game. Gideon's like grabbing keys and moving on because, like you said, Gideon's just a blunt object soldier who doesn't give a shit about anything, doesn't take pleasure in it.
Yeah,
and I think that's a cool distinction.
Yeah, it's like Dodge is playing Pokemon Go, trying to collect them all, and Gideon's playing Doom or first person shooter, just fucking shit up. So I just
and ironically collecting them all.
Yeah, well, that's true as well. But like as far as the kind of like attack scene when they're going through the house.
Wait, just to stay on this metaphor. So it's a little more like Dodge is casually playing Pokemon Go on the phone every now and again, but Gideon is one of those guys in like the height of Pokemon Go in like 2016 where they had like 80 phones lined up in front of them or playing the games all at the same time. Is that a little more?
You're talking about you mean?
Yeah.
Well, no. If we're going to talk about Zelbin, I got a perfect one. It's like when Zelbin first started playing Pokemon Go, and I had to watch ahead of him on the sidewalk so he wouldn't run into people. But then when it got real bad is when he came to visit me in my house and walked by a whole park and didn't even notice.
Wow. I love that you guys used to go on walks together or something. It's cute. The other thing I wanted to say about this television show, Locke and Key.
Are we still talking about that? Okay.
Yeah. Let's Pokemon go back to what we're supposed to be talking about.
Okay, good. Yeah, I was saying like when they were racing through the house and we got to see Kinsey's extra bathroom was really nice. I really liked what she did that. But when they
I just want to clarify. I want to clarify. I know you're making a joke here, but we had Meredith Averill, one of the 2 showrunners of Locke and Key on the podcast, and she clarified for us And it's not an extra bathroom. It's a pass-through bathroom that they both share.
Yeah, it's a shared bathroom.
Yes.
So
either
shout out
way,
to that.
it's super-
I love that. That's
super
somehow
nice.
come up. We talk about that bathroom more than a lot of other stuff on this.
Well, also when they were running through the house and those portraits were on the wall, super creepy. I never kind of really noticed the creepy portraits before.
Oh, yeah, there was a portrait of Chamberlain Locke that they passed
Yeah.
by, which seemed like a little teaser that we're probably going to see him again at some point.
I think we got to get in the inevitable Sparrow episode. I think Chamberlain's going to be the one who's guiding there.
Well, to that point, and I think this is a good place to wrap up, let's talk about what we think happened here at the end of the episode. So the sand runs out. Dodge and Bode's body disappears. We don't get to see what happens with Dodge's body necessarily, but I think everything doesn't exactly reset, right? Like those things disappear and we're just going to have kind of ghost Bode out there. Does that seem accurate to you, Pete?
Well, what I think is happening is as the sand runs out, Enter the Sandman plays, and instead of Mariano Rivera running out, you get Bode, who's going to come running out through the ghost door, and he's going to rejoin the family.
Yes, I get that you were joking there, but I think even though it would make a little more sense for like Bode is back with the ghost back in his body and Dodge is back in time, just in terms of resetting a paradox, I do think what we're actually going to get is Dodge's body is gone, Bode's body is gone, Bode is left without a body and is just a ghost at this point.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Ghost Bode still, and they got to figure out a way to kind of get him.
Well, and I think there is a very specific path there. This is getting into spoilers for the comic that we've talked about before on the podcast, but I will tease that the next episode is titled Free Bird. So
yeah. I think we're gonna get some bird stuff next episode.
I hope we get a guitar
how are we gonna get
solo, like a sick guitar solo. You know what I mean?
Oh,
It's like
that's funny. That's one thing I would hope does not happen. I'm curious where they're gonna, like you were just saying, where we're gonna get a Bode body.
Bode body, yeah, exactly.
Bode body, because what we need.
Bode
body's
body's back in time, isn't it?
I don't know if it's back in time.
Bode's body's back in time, but is Bode's body back when Bode's body comes back to Bode?
Nice. We'll cut the pauses out at the end there.
Sure.
The dude post. Well, because presumably Dodge's body is still there. So is Bode just going to be Dodge? We can change.
Because that's an
change
extra
the face.
body.
Dodgy body feeling naughty. Bode body back in time.
Yeah, nice pun. Alex is having a stroke because the episode was too short. He's too happy.
Are you guys smelling guac? I'm smelling guac. I don't know.
Yes, that's traditional stroke smell. Because we could change Dodge's face, right? Change the shape to become a Bode.
But-
One option. Bode's body could